Because I believe stories are more sticky than me just throwing you a bunch of tips and hacks and tricks.
Do you have a storytelling formula?
I do.
What is the storytelling formula?
I think the way most people tell stories is they report stories. So I'll share a story with you, okay? And reporting a story is, let's say you ask me the question, this is one of my favorite stories. Let's say you ask me how I met my wife. Reporting a story is just me saying, oh, I met my wife at a bar and I did some magic to her, she didn't like it, and that was cool. And then I gradually was able to woo her in the end, but I met her at a bar. That's me reporting the story, right? It kind of sounds like a news reporter.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about it again, let me just anchor it with a news reporter. It's like a news reporter saying, last night at a bar at 9 p.m., Vinh Giang went to a bar called Distill and tried to pick up a girl, did a cheesy magic trick. It didn't work, therefore he failed. He came back 4 times again, and then he saw her, and then he succeeded, and now they're married. On to the next news, right? So it's kind of very reportery. Whereas
Matter of fact.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the story of how I met my wife. So I still remember this because this happened in 2009. I crashed a girl's graduation party named Vivian. It was at a bar called Distill, this beautiful bar called Distill. And there was 2 levels to this bar. On the bottom was for everybody, and on top was the high rollers, and you had to buy expensive drinks to get to the top. And I got to the top, and I saw this beautiful Malaysian girl sitting by the bar. So I said to my friends, I said, watch this. And I take a packet of cards out of my pants, because I'm a magician. So I walk up to her and I say, would you be impressed if I transform this King of Hearts into the Queen of Hearts like yourself?
Yeah, okay.
Disgusted. I know, you're making the disgusted face. And that's how she reacted. She looked at me as if she smelt a bloody fart. She looks at me and she goes, I'd be more impressed if you transformed into a real man, had a conversation with me. Boom. And I've never had that reaction before. Normally people say, wow, you're amazing. So I said to her, no thanks. And I left, tail between my legs. The boys all teased me and everything. But I was so drawn. Her confidence. Just, oh, there was something there. I went back to the bar 4 times in a row. She wasn't there, she wasn't there, she wasn't there, then she was there. And I walked up to her the second time and I said, hey, listen, what if I transformed into a real man tonight, took you out for a coffee? And we fell in love. You know, and that's the story of how I met my wife. Whereas the way I would normally tell that story is just, oh, I met her at a bar, did some tricks, she didn't like it, and then that was fine.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, there was so much life, so much zest in that story.
I noticed you added so much almost irrelevant detail. But you talked about the bar having 2 floors and
to
stuff
make it
like that.
visual.
Okay, so I could picture it in my mind. And
Yes,
why
I
does
wanted
that
to make
matter?
it visual. Well, well, okay, so here's the thing. When you think of the storytelling formula, if you just give the who, what, where, and when, that's the basics people need. But what turns it from reporting to reliving, because that's what you want to get to, you want to get to reliving a story, is the ingredients that you just called out. So intuitive of you to call them out. VAKS, V-A-K-S, which stands for visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and smell. So I'm just describing those few things for you, right? And it doesn't always have to have all the ingredients, but you want to add some of those ingredients, right? So the visual I described to you, the visual, the auditory, what I said. I did my voice, I did her voice, I gave you dialogue, right? So all of a sudden you bring the story to life. Now it goes from reporting to reliving.